For activity 5, the directions have asked us to order the following from least to greatest, and you're given 4 things in 4 different forms. I'm going to go ahead and tell you now you probably need to get scratch paper because it's going to look really messed up if you try doing all your work here. So let's look at number 1, where it asks us to order these 4 numbers. And remember our strategy. What do we always turn the numbers into? It asks us to turn them into percentages. So that means this one's good to go. Our decimal right here, think of our strategy. I'm going to do it right underneath it here. We have DP, decimal to percent. Tells us we go from the D to the P, we're moving to the right. There's 2 letters, so we move 2 times. 1, 2, and add a 0. So this will be 250%. So 2 of them are in percentages so far. Ooh, we come to 3/4 next. Some of you know this, and if you do, great. If not, use our cowboy method strategy. Turn our fraction into our decimal, and then our decimal to a percent. So let's review our story. Our cowboy rides the horse. The cowboy, the top number, goes inside the house. He kicks off his boots. Hangs up his hat, kicks off his boots, and eats 3 donuts while the horse stays outside. And then we're ready to start our division. And we ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 3? Hopefully you're thinking to yourself, size 4 foot can't fit in a 3. I'm hoping you've noticed by now, these are usually zeros. They're not always going to be zeros, but a lot of times our first number is a 0. But don't always assume it's a 0. Actually do your math to check. So then we slide over and we say, oh, can 4 go into 30? Well, I know 4 will go. Some of us know how many, and if you don't though, start using that strategy of your multiples. So we count up by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. So I was adding 4 each time. Oh, 32 is too big, so I can know that it's going to end in 28. So let's count how many groups that took. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups. Because 7 times 4 is 28. Have to subtract. I can't do 0 minus 8, so I have to borrow. 10 minus 8 is 2. And then I bring down my 0. And I'm ready to start the process over again. So I think in my head, how many times does 4 go into 20? Like I've already done the work, I just have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So 5 times 4 is 20. 20 minus 20. Hopefully you know if you have a whole thing, take it away, it's 0. So since it's 0, we're done. Well, we're done. We have a decimal. Look up here. Remember, we're turning them into percent. So if we think of our DP, from decimal to percent, we move from to the right 2 spots. So this will be 75%. So, ooh, I've got 3 of them ready to go. And I have one more. I have to take my scientific notation and take it out of scientific notation. So it's a plain number, and then turn that plain number into a percent. So let's see. We have 5.3. Ooh, I see it's a positive 1. So I remember when I turn numbers into regular, positives are to the right, negatives left. So if it's a positive 1, I move into the right 1 time. It means my new decimal's here, not there. So I have 53 with a decimal. Now that's all fine and dandy, but that's still not in a percent. So I have a number with a decimal, so now I have to follow my DP rules. Move that decimal 2 spots to the right. 1, 2. And we're left with 5,300%. Guys, remember, if I go too fast at any time, please pause. I'd rather you rewatch it and get it right because you're going to have to do the next 3 problems on your own. So let's look now. I have all 4 of these numbers in percentages, so I'm going to use my knowledge of grades. We want from least to greatest. So I look at this, 800, 250, 75, 5,300. I know the smallest one of these is 75, but I'm not going to write 75 here. I'm going to put it back in its original form. So I'm going to put 3/4. I'm going to kind of put a check so I know I used it. So now I look, I have 250, 874, 5,300. And I know 250 is my next. I'm going from least to greatest. I'm not going to write 250 though. I'm going to put it in the original form of 2.5. And now 800 or 5,000. It should be the 874%. Hopefully that's what you were thinking. Put it in that original form. And then lastly, 5,000% is definitely our biggest. But I'm not going to write that. I'm going to put it in its original form, which was in scientific notation. So I'm perfectly aware these take time to work out and do. I do not expect you to finish this fast. Neither does Miss Yost or any of your other teachers. You now need to complete the other 3 problems on here showing your work and then put them in original form when you order them from least to greatest.